What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Today, I wanted to come on and speak about the topic of a book that I was reading that's referred to as the Phoenix Generation. Yes? So this book was written in 2014 by Kingsley L. Dennis. But I wanted to speak about what his concept was with the Phoenix Generation. Now we have the Generation X, Generation Z, the Millennials, Generation Alpha, all these different generations. But the Phoenix Generation is a combination of them all. Yes, we are the Phoenix Generation. So what is the concept of the Phoenix Generation? Bottom line up front is that the Phoenix Generation is the generation that's going to burn it all down and rebuild it, right? And so humanity is undergoing a profound transformation, which is basically a crisis catalyst, yes? Where everything is burning down, that nothing is what we know it to be. Everything from the way that we work with our currency, from the way that we live, the way that we that we treat nature, the way that we go into our relationships with one another, the way that we see one another, everything is changing. And for people in my generation and back, right, they may be having a difficult time during this transformation because everything is being shooken up. Like everything that has been known to be true is no longer factual. You can see it in everything. You can see it in the food wars, how we are really rising up against what's going into our food, what we're putting into our bodies, how we're living our life. From traditional medicine, how we are coming against the pharmaceutical companies, refusing to do things like have things put into our bodies that we have no idea what it is. We're going more holistic in our healing, yes? And although there is a place for traditional medicine, so I'm not saying that we're realizing that there is a place for traditional medicine, but we're fighting against the medicines that we have to take for the rest of our lives, and we're leaning more towards what we're putting into our bodies. And sometimes that can be difficult because of the way that traditional medicine is the quick fix. And so it's easy to try to fall into that, yes? And some people may need it. I'm not going against that. I'm just saying that there is a shakeup with the pharmaceutical companies, yeah? There's a shakeup with our food, yeah? There is also a serious shakeup with traditional relationships and the imbalance in the masculine and the feminine. It has to be burned down. Yes, in order for it to be recreated in a more holistic manner, in a more balanced manner. And so you may see things like gender wars going on where women are saying they hate men. They're tired of it. They're tired of being treated a certain way. And men are saying they hate women. They're tired of being treated a certain way. Well, these are the gender wars that are burning down the traditional way that we see relationships based off of primarily religious concepts. So another thing that's burning down the way that we see religion and spirituality. People are going into their own directions and believing and embracing what they want to embrace versus what the generations from my generation and back were saying we had to embrace. People are believing more in themselves, in the little God, the God within, than they are outside of themselves. Now, it's inevitable that there is something outside of ourselves, right? It's something that can't be denied. But people are embracing whatever that something is versus being put into a box and being told you have to do this or you are going to burn in the pits of hell. Now, a lot of people may be feeling that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. And I think that's what we need to do. Everything needs to be burnt down. But there's things that are happening that people are starting to see that have been wasting our energy and wasting our times. The staying traditional and wanting to be accepted by society, and things of that sort. Like now you can go to, there was a time when you couldn't be hired if you had a tattoo on your face. Now people are just expressing themselves through tattoos and through their hair and how they dress, and they're being hired in all these different facets of themselves. There was a time when that wouldn't happen. You had to be uniform. You had to look a certain way. You had to be a certain way. Even the military is transitioning to where one can be more of who they are as an individual. That what they look like, what their gender is, and how they wear their hair does not constitute how they do their job. And so that's changing. That's a shakeup. Everything has to be burned down and recreated. Individuality is a huge part of this. People are burning down things such as racism. They're burning down things such as gender. So that's why all the gender wars are happening right now. They're burning down things such as traditional relationships. We're dissolving the borders. That's what's happening right now, even though you can't see it right now, how all the immigrants are being deported here and deported there, and immigrants are being brought over here based off of their skin color and things of that sort. But what's really happening is that the boundaries, the borders are being dissolved. And in order for that to happen, in order for us to realize that at the end of the day, we are all one, we have to dissolve borders, we have to dissolve skin color, we have to dissolve racism. And the powers that be that are currently in charge are a catalyst for this. Love them, hate them, despise them, whatever it is, but that person that's at the top of the food chain right now is a catalyst for this. He came back to assist us in burning it all down. And it doesn't feel good. It's chaotic. It's like, what about our people? We have people sleeping in cars. We have people sleeping in storages. And people are really suffering. But it's all part of the profound transformation that has to happen in order for us to evolve. The way that we teach our children, the education system, the roboticness of the education system, teaching us things that we don't really need. I've still yet to use algebra. I've still yet to use algebra. And so we're leaning more towards teaching our children how to be more creative, that sitting behind a desk for 8 hours a day is blocking the creativity of the children. And so even the way that our education system is set up is going to change. Like, it's going to be more holistic. It's going to be more nature-based, more emotional, intelligent-based, more creativity-based, allowing our children to branch out into their own creativity. And so that will be happen. That's part of what the Phoenix generation is here to do. The Phoenix generation is you. It's me. It's our children, it's our grandchildren, and it's our great-grandchildren to come. And we signed up for it to be here during this time of conscious chaos in order to be a part of it. So it's not anything to fear, because despite the chaos, there is a brighter and more conscious future. And believe it or not, AI is a part of this. People will have more time to be more creative, to do what they've really come back to do, because AI will take over all of the mundane jobs. AI will be flipping the hamburgers, while the hamburger flipper is painting, building, creating, using their imagination, assisting nature, loving nature, saving the dolphins. They will have the time to go be and do all these things. And people are showing, people living in their cars and living in storages and living out on the land, what they're doing is they're showing you that we don't need these four walls. We don't need these $2,000, $3,000 mortgages. These people that are living in RVs and tents and just living with the bare minimum, to show us that we don't need all of this heavy stuff that burdens us, that we go to work for, that we stress out about, we're behind in bills, that we get in debt with. They're showing us that we don't need these $250,000 degrees, that we don't have to be in all this debt, burdened and stressed out, that we can actually live with little or nothing. And guess what? Be happy. So this is what the Phoenix generation is here to show us. That gender, that a certain gender does not equate love. I would dare to say that the LGBTQIA community, forgive me if I got that wrong, is doing a lot better than the traditional relationship community. The love is freer, it's less restrictive, it's more balanced in the masculine and the feminine. They too are showing us that the way that we're doing things, the way that we are carrying on with our relationships is not working. The gender wars are tremendous right now, with women saying how much they hate men and how men have put their thumb on the feminine energy and pressed us down for their benefit. You'll never see a man prosper more than when he's with a good woman. He comes up. It's because of the power of her manifestation energy. That's a whole different video. And the gender wars are saying women need men to protect them, but to protect us from who? Other men. So we're going to have to balance out this gender war, yeah? Men are starting to see that women have the capacity to be just as nasty. All over the country, children are putting in their DNA test to say, and it's coming back that he is not the father after all. After he's invested 20, 30 years into this child. And that woman sat there with a straight face the entire time. One is not better than the other, beloved. It's not the gender, it's a spirit. And because we are changing the way that we see things, the traditional ways of honor and love your wife and respect and honor your husband. And for what? When the spirit is distorted. And so we are coming together in spirituality. We are starting to see that we are all one, that one is not better than the other, that one is not higher than the other. And that when we come together in the spirit, that's when we grow, and it doesn't matter about the gender. We all have a masculine and feminine energy within us. Because of spirituality, we are seeing that. Religion would never allow one to see that. And so we're doing away with all these things that have held mankind, that have held the humanity as a whole down. The Phoenix generation, when he wrote this book in 2014, it was a warning to give you a heads up, but it's also a beacon of hope. So for those of you who feel like the world is going to hell in a handbasket, I would like to suggest to you this book, The Phoenix Generation, to bring you up to date, to bring you up to par, so that you can get a different vision, a different view on what's really happening right now. What feels like chaos is actually a blessing. So let's get on board. Let's do our part in assisting humanity and evolving like the phoenix from the ashes. Yes? Well, that's all I have for you today here on Closing the Gap. If you're feeling my energy, if you like my vibe, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the bell notification so that you know when I upload. And remember, until we know nothing, then we don't know anything. It's nothingness. At the end of the day, releasing those things that we think we know and embracing the new. Thank you for tuning in today here on Closing the Gap. And we'll see you next time. Y'all have a good day.